You know, one of the things about Huntley Street is that we bring to people's attention what's happening in the world. Sometimes a lot of the things that we don't really want to process. And Pope Francis has made an interesting comment recently at a mass that he was conducting. He says, you know, he talked about the number of Christian martyrs. And he says, why does the world persecute Christians? He asked that question. He says, the world hates Christians for the same reason that it hated Jesus, because he brought the light of God. And then he said this is what chokes me. He said, there are more martyrs in the church today than in the early church. The martyrs of today are greater in number than those of the first century.
Wow.
Are you ready for this? 322 people each month are being killed for their faith in Jesus. And as a Canadian, you know, I could just cower down and say, I don't want to hear all these things. But we need to stand up and make a difference. Guys like Cal Bombay, you talked about Baroness Cox, people that are making a difference. You and I are invited to make a difference as well. And you know, last year, 7,000 people laid down their life for Jesus. The question is, why are people willing to die for Jesus?
Yeah, you know what? That's a great question. And I think, you know, here in the West, we don't have to make that decision when we decide to follow Jesus. And many of us, we get kind of lukewarm in our faith or cultural about it or family about it because we're not challenged. But people in many countries, when they decide to follow Jesus, it's a life or death decision.
I remember someone saying to me at one time, you can't really begin to live until you know how you're going to die. And the other thing is, what am I prepared to die for? Because when we answer those questions, then our life can take on meaning. I do a radio show on the West Coast that goes across Canada. I was blown away one day at this large secular station that records it for us. The station manager said to me, he's not yet a Christian, but he said to me, Mike, he said, I see the average guy in Vancouver driving home in his BMW saying, what is my purpose in life? And guess what? He looked at me and he said, you have the answers. You should be telling people.
Wow.
I want to throw that out to people today that we have a great opportunity to tell people about the difference that Jesus can make in your life. There's a reason for living, and death is not the end. I'm talking about the 23rd Psalm. I can hardly wait till Friday when David says, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, God says I'm with you. And he prepares a table before us in the presence of our enemies. We don't have to fear death.
Absolutely. And I think that's the difference that Christians we see around the world. And I totally agree. People, even Christians, are saying to me, what is my purpose in life? And I think that's a question we can ask God, and he has a reason that he created us. There's a reason that you are here. And if you don't know that, give that number on your screen a call. We'd like to talk to you about that and help you discover why God put you on this earth.